Homebrew Wednesday. I might have had one or two or five too many of these bad boys, because this is damn good, let me tell you. This is the old Hallertauer Pilsener that I was showing you on the previous Homebrew Wednesday, that frankly sat far too warm for far too long and would not clear out for Billy-o. So I had to auxiliary refine it, but as you can see now it's carbonated in the old Corny keg. I've just whacked the bad boy out of the freezer so it's nice and cold. And to be fair, not a bad point, no. Put it this way, I wouldn't be throwing this bad boy out. And in there, oh dear, look, I happen to be double fisted. Check me out. Anyway, I don't have a great deal to talk about this week, to be fair. I'm very, very late because it's now Saturday and I should have put this up on Wednesday. I am super late. But, having said that, I've had a manic week. Last 2 weeks have been mental. However, I've now broke up from my holiday for 2 weeks, so I should be a little bit more on top of what's going on. Understand? Excellent. I can say, last Saturday was a very enlightening day for me. Let me show you why. So, last Saturday I went on a little course. Started at 10, finished about 4, and this, you can see that, this is the course material from a company called the Home Brew Shop, based in Aldershot, and it's a mashing course. This is quite large, and you can see that. Probably 70 pages, I suppose, of good information on how to mash all grain beer. Now this course, let me tell you, this course was £30. Believe it or not, it cost me more money in diesel to get to and from the course than the course cost me for the day. Started at 10, finished about 3:30, 4 o'clock. 2 guys, one guy, Adrian, who owns the Home Brew Shop, and a friend of his called Martin, who's an amateur home brewer for want of a better description. He's no affiliation to the shop other than he's a mate of Aid. They did 2 setups for us to hands-on have a go at. You got a cool box setup. There were 3. Again, too many of these. 3 cool boxes. There was the hot liquor ton, the mash ton, and the boil ton in there, and that was Aid, and he used his own recipe, just made it up off Beersmith 2. He made it up. Before we got there, they'd adjusted the properties of the water, and then once we'd got the mash started, they went back through and explained how to test the water wherever you are in the country or in the world, how to use the test kit, where to buy the test kit from. To be fair, the Home Brew Shop don't sell it. It's an aquarium test kit, but it's only about £7 for 200 tests, so it's dirt cheap and it's very easy to use. They showed us the carbonate reducing solution to adjust the hardness of your water. I mean, I live in a very hard water area. To be fair, they were talking about in the course, a lot of people Burtonise their water. Marston's at Burton is only 25 miles from where I live. They must treat their water because my water is in excess of 200 parts per million calcium carbonate, and that's hard. Not very hard, but it's pushing the very hard boundaries. And if you want to brew a nice lager or like a light ale, you're talking 30 to 50 parts per million, so you really need to get the ass down on the carbonates. So they showed us how to test the water, the solution that you need to use to treat the water, and Martin did it for us, and obviously they'd already treated their water, but he showed us in a 1 litre vial, little container. You whack the old, use the, I can't remember what it's called, Alcatic I think it might be. The aquarium test kit. He tested the water as it comes out the tap. He then worked out that he wanted it between 30 and 50 parts per million. And he used the table to work out how much of the CRS, which is the carbonate reducing solution, he needed to add to 1 litre to make it between 30 and 40 parts per million. He added the CRS to the 1 litre sample. He then retested it to prove that he's not making it up and this is how it works. Bang on, 40 parts per million, down from about 185. Stupidly easy. Honestly, it proper takes all the guesswork out of your water chemistry. It's very easy. He then showed us how to use the what's called DLS, which is dry liquor salts. And because they're apparently quite tricky to dissolve in water, they're added to the grain just before you transfer the water from the HLT into your mash tun. It really does make a big difference, to be fair. And there were 2 setups. There was a stainless steel setup. All 3 containers were stainless steel. That was Martin's setup. He used the 45 litre Igloo icebox. 3 of those setups with electric, and Martin was using gas for his boil. Martin also used a batch barge method, and Aid with the ice boxes, he used a fly barge method. So you got to get to see both methods, and we saw the beer made from front to back. It was from beginning to end. You got to hands on, you got to mix it yourself, you got to add the water yourself. They also aid with the I suppose perhaps the more homebrew oriented, if you will, setup with the Igloo ice boxes, the 45 litre Igloo ice boxes. He used a copper water chiller, the coiled copper immersion chiller. Martin, who'd got a stainless steel setup, used a plate heat exchanger chiller. Fuck me, that's amazing. It probably took Aid with the copper water chiller, the coil, 20-25 minutes to cool his boiled beer down from boil temperature to something that you could pitch the yeast at. It took Martin, now bear in mind it was a really hot weekend last weekend, and the ambient temperature of the water coming out the tap was 26 degrees, so they were both panicking that it was bob open any chance that they were going to get their wort down to a sensible temperature to be able to pitch the yeast. This is 1 pass straight out the boil tun into the fermenter with Martin's 40 plate chiller. It went from about 90 degrees to 26 degrees in 1 pass straight through this chiller. Amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're expensive. I've had a look at them, and they're a lot of money. But if you're serious about your brewing, plate chiller's the way to go. Counter current flow heat exchanger makes a huge difference. It really does save time in terms of getting a beer that you can ferment, pitch your yeast in straight off the bat. And they also did a strange Aid, who'd got the Igloo icebox method, chose to use like a standard yeast, an 11 gram dried yeast pouch. Martin used the Y yeast slap packs that he swears by, about £7 I think I was swearing about it. And to be fair, the product that turned out at the end was quite impressive. They got a pressure barrel from the months before course for us to try, and it was the beer that he'd made. And to be fair, the ambient temperature in the warehouse was 26 degrees, so it's quite warm, to be fair, and I think the beer was slightly undercarbonated, but goddamn, it was good. Even warm and flat, you can really see the benefit of all grain. It was amazing. If you cooled that down and got the carbonation bang on, I swear to God, if I'd served you that in a pub, you would not be disappointed if you'd paid £3 a pint for it. You wouldn't. It was amazing. The course is so good, and as I say, you've got telephone and email support anytime you've got a question, an issue. we've got, going through this, look, everything that we discussed in the course, description of all the malts that you can use and the effects that they have on your beer. This section's about aroma hops, and it goes through every hop and the current alpha acid for this year's crops, and what they do, and the kind of beers that you would normally use them in. Bittering hops, cleaning, sanitising, yada yada yada. Amazing, really. The course was such a good day. I mean, it's down in Aldershot, which for me is, it's a 320 mile round trip for the day, but I enjoyed it so much I'm seriously considering booking another course and doing exactly the same thing all over again, because it was 20 of us on the course. You're meeting like-minded people. They provide you tea, coffee, cold drinks all day. Your buffet lunch is included in that 30 quid. It was well worth £30 of anybody's money, to be fair, and I would be glad to go and do it again, and I may well do a bit later in the year. Anyway, I've got some other stuff to talk about. Cheers, happy Home Brew Wednesday. This is a commercial, sadly, old peculiar, but nice beer anyway. Right, this is my Cabernet Sauvignon batch. Eventually got it bottled and bagged, and to be fair, I had to rush this a little because my Hallertauer Pilsener has been sat at 22 degrees for 17 days now. Won't cool, and consequently wouldn't clear because it was so warm. So I've had to resort to auxiliary finings. They went in Tuesday. It's been sort of 48 hours now, and I'm ready to finally have a play with my new Corny system. It's been thoroughly cleaned, thoroughly sanitised, checked all my system works, all my CO2 works, my Dalex free flow tap also works. So now you're going to see my inaugural kegging into my, not so new, but new to me, Corny system. So I should take my auto siphon out of my Star Sun solution. Normally I would have done this straight out of my bottling bucket, but because I had to rack into secondary to fine my beer, I didn't really have a lot of choice other than to fine it into the wine barrel, hence why I had to barrel the wine indoors. There she goes, my Hallertauer Pilsener for my inaugural Corny keg beer. This is pretty dull, so we'll come back a little later when it's empty. Okay, so back to my beer setup. As you can see, I've got my CO2, my regulator. It's going into my Corny keg through my quick disconnect, and I've also got a little beer line down to my Dalex free flow tap. I did have a little problem actually with my keg. I bought a new setup, a new seal setup. Changed all the seals. Changed the lid seal, changed the dip tube seal, same the carbonate, the gas in line seal, and I found that, to be fair, the same with the this one, the lid seal. The new ones are quite a lot thinner than the old ones. Not too much of a problem with the lid, because obviously the pressure forces the lid up, but I was losing beer out of me the seal here, and what I had to do with the beer line out seal is I had to change it back to the original one, and now I'm not losing beer. So get your brains around that one, because that makes no sense to me at all, none whatsoever. But I know it's a pretty crude setup, to be fair. I would like to get myself a nice little beer tap setup, but as it stands currently, I can whack the keg in the freezer with £30 on it, get it out and serve it at 4 or 5 psi through my Dalex free flow control tap, and get a nice little pint out of it. So if you're not kegging, get on it. Have a look at Craig Tube's 4-part introduction to the kegging series, and he has demystified what would have otherwise been quite a complicated process turn it into a very simple process. And actually, in terms of cost, other than the keg, which they're stupid money now to be fair, tap wasn't very expensive, sort of 15-16 quid. CO2 was 12 quid. I happen to have a local supplier that sorted me out. My regulator was 25 quid, brand new. Lines were about 8 quid, and the guy split them up. I think it was a 10 metre lot off eBay. And I asked him if he could do me 5 metres of the grey cable for the CO2 and 5 metres of the clear cable for the food grade B, and it's not a problem. And to be fair, I've got, that's probably half of it. The other half, as you can see, is still wound up over there. So when I expand the into the brewery into my brew shed, which is my next big project, I'm going to convert my shed, which is attached to the other side of that wall over there where my brew laundry is. The other side of that wall is a half brick built concrete floor base shed. It's a dwarf wall up to about, I don't know, 3 foot, and then after that it's a shed on top of that. And I only replaced it last year. Tannalised tongue and groove with a 10-year guarantee on it. Nice brand new felted roof. It's not a massive, it's about the width, just short of the width of the garage. But when I can get all the crap that's in there out of there, that is going to be my brew shed. Going to be able to get water, because you can see the 2 lines that run down the wall there for the tap. Straight through the wall. I can get electric because I wired the ring main in this garage. Just extending it out there to the shed. I have got 1 or 2 other things on the go at the moment. We're looking to go to Florida, so brew shed might take until this time next year to get finalised. But then I can have myself a kegerator, I can have myself a brewing area. I'm going to have a fermentation chamber that I can control the temperature, cool and heat, so that no matter what day, you know, when in the year I'm doing it, I can cool it down if it's too warm, which it is at the moment, or I can run my immersion heaters if it's too cold. So that's pretty much a lot for this week. I've just finished brewing. As you can see, the remnants are there. I've just finished an experimental brew for which is over there, a pineapple wine next to my hop cider, and I'm still umming and ahhing with the old hop cider. That's completely finished, racked into secondary, sitting there, needs bottling. Now I tasted it when I did the final gravity, and to be fair, it's revolting, and that could be just because I'm not into hop ciders. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to bottle that, and I'm going to leave it to age for probably 4 weeks, and then what I might do is send a bottle of that along with 1 or 2 other goodies up to Big CQ, because he's your hop man for his hop cider, and I want him to have a little taste of it and tell me whether he thinks that's any good or whether it's crap. It might just be that it don't taste too bad as a hop cider, but I don't like them. I couldn't tell you one way or the other, to be fair. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send it to Big CQ, and he can have a little nibble on it and tell me what he thinks. I've also gone over there. Most of the ingredients, if it ever frigging focuses, there we go. Most of the ingredients for my strawberry cider 2, the second rematch. I'm going to do strawberry cider. I'm going to use the strawberries in syrup that Harry Brew did, and I'm also going to use double up strength of the Ribena, which is actually in the house at the moment. But when I did the blackcurrant cider, which if you watch my blackcurrant cider experimental home brew video, I made it 1:2. This one I'm going to make it 1:1. So I'm going to go, instead of last time when I did 350ml of Ribena to 700ml of water, I'm going to go 1:1. I'm going to make a litre up, and I'm going to go 500 to 500, and I'm also going to mash up the strawberries in syrup, and they're going to sit in the bottom of the fermenter, and I'm hoping that that's going to give me a really strawberry finish cider. Look out for that on my experimental homebrew videos, because that's coming up fairly shortly. And that's my lot for this week. So keep brewing, boys, girls, enjoy the fruits of your labours, and I will see you shortly.